family or street, but why not both? Hello, I'm Jack, and as a dad, I have no time for street photography, especially on family holidays. It took 5 chaotic trips and the book Flow by famed psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi before I figured out how to balance personal memories with decisive moments. Today, let's talk about 5 ways to stay in the flow state as a parent and photographer while traveling. But let's be real, this is really hard. Family holidays in Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, then Sydney. I thought I figured it all out before our last trip to Japan. I've had a bad day. First, I totally stacked it in the rain trying to hunt up the last Nikon ZF hand grip. Then there was a mix-up. We had to pack everything up in a hotel and move to a brand new room. My daughter threw up, vomited all over her clothes. This walk out at night is the first holiday I've had from my holiday all day long. This video isn't about gear and there are no sponsors, but if you'd like to support the channel, consider using my affiliate links below. Now onto the rest of the video. What does flow state actually feel like? Floating on water, letting the current carry you effortlessly towards a single task when every shot feels like a keeper. After years of research into creativity, Csikszentmihalyi came up with a list of conditions for entering the flow state. The first condition is simple: have a clear goal. Don't go on a trip without first doing research on locations that can serve double duty: family outings and interesting photo walks. But the goal for our first trip after becoming parents had nothing to do with photography. It was just about survival. Melbourne's only a 2-hour flight away. We had family friends there as backup, so the trip was a low-risk test to see how we coped traveling with a 9-month-old for the very first time. Disaster. Anywhere we wanted to visit, graffitied walls on the Grave Street, coffees down Hardware Lane, Flinders Street Station, or inside the State Library. Everywhere was either too crowded for our huge pram or too quiet for our crying bub. We had better luck in wide open spaces on the beaches in St Kilda, but it was hard to relax. We didn't sleep, the baby couldn't sleep, and it felt very selfish dragging her along to places she won't even remember. It was a mistake for us to try and relive a trip from our youth without adapting for travel as parents, and there wasn't much time for photography on that trip. I did make one selfish goal from the outset though: Princess Pier in Port Melbourne. Blew out the water with a long exposure as the boats float by. The freezing weather of wintertime Melbourne imposed an urgent deadline for this impromptu photo shoot. I was not floating or anywhere near flow state. The whole ordeal was rather unpleasant, and even when I find my flow state, it's so easy to get snapped out of it because life gets in the way. But being a dad is a full-time vocation, especially when you're traveling. Even if you had a super understanding partner who could look after everything while you just go and chase the light, I'd rather involve my daughter in every part of the process so that I'm not missing out in all the fun. Csikszentmihalyi's second flow state condition is to get immediate feedback while you do the task to adapt with micro adjustments on the fly. I personally don't like chipping up the back LCD because it disrupts the flow for shooting on the street, but that's for the street. Landscapes or nature, you need all the feedback you can get, and I paid the price for not checking the histogram. We adapted to feedback from our Melbourne disaster just in time for our second family trip to Perth. But this time, we got smarter. Bought a much smaller travel-friendly pram, just one camera, one lens at 24-70, and I didn't bother packing a laptop. Only baby-friendly things were on our itinerary: family restaurants, shopping centers, and wide open spaces. For everything else, one of us would stay with the baby back at the hotel while the other ventures off to do their own thing. My own thing on that trip was the iconic Crawley Edge boat shed. It was a scenic hour-long walk from the CBD, and it was a beautiful but melancholy day. My camera was new to me at the time, and I couldn't get the settings right. The viewfinder was too dark, and I didn't know how to activate the histogram. Turned out way overexposed, and because I didn't bring my laptop, I wasn't even sure I could rescue it. There was no immediate feedback. Luckily, the sensor's dynamic range let me rescue the highlights, but this image is the reason I now always bring a laptop on every trip to adjust and adapt on the fly. But no amount of adjusting on the fly could have forced my 2-year-old to make that hour-long walk or find much interest in a lone boat shed on the side of the road. I didn't get to share that shooting experience with anyone. Turns out isolation wasn't my path to the flow state either. Before I could find another path though, first I need to find the best 24-hour coin-operated laundry in Shinjuku. And hold on, I think I'm lost. I swear it should be here. It says to turn 90 meters left this way. Google Maps works really well in Japan, but there's so many side streets for it to get confused. Well, I think I really must be lost. Csikszentmihalyi's third flow state condition is for time to be altered, either slowing down or speeding up when we're in the zone. Our third family trip was to Adelaide and my daughter just turned 3. Time was speeding up. We abandoned the one for you, one for me mode of the last trip and just tried to fit as much together as a family unit as we could. I spent the days carrying bags, focused entirely on being present as a dad, but when everyone else went to bed, I hit the rainy Adelaide streets, the CBD, backlit streets near the university campuses. It felt like I was shooting for hours and I got so many keepers, but it was really just a tight 1 hour photo walk. There wasn't the usual baggage of sacrificing family time for street photography. Shooting at night, time slowed down and I was finally in the flow. And creativity thrives off limitation. Over the years, I've learned to just roll with the punches. First, a drink. Csikszentmihalyi's fourth flow state condition is that you can't force it. You need to feel absorbed in the task without too much effort, focused but not stressed. And this is how I approached our fourth family trip to Sydney. I was presenting at a conference and the whole family came along. It was a work trip, so I still had to catch up on emails and work at night, but I did all my shooting during the day. My daughter turned 4, so she's starting to get what travel's all about. In between conference sessions, we ran around the beautiful buildings on campus, and when the day ended, we chased pigeons around Darling Harbour and had macarons and milkshakes at Queen Victoria Building. Nothing was meticulously planned, just documenting the streets around us as we went about our day. It was both a work and family trip, so I couldn't wander off to take shots from dawn till dusk, but I was sharper because of these limitations. I could let go of the stress that comes with complete creative autonomy, and I found another way to get into the flow. Just have your camera ever at the ready, documenting what it is to be like a dad while you're traveling, and odds are you get something interesting along the way. I'm trying to find this coin-operated laundry in the middle of the night to wash off vomit. I think it's just down there actually. Csikszentmihalyi's fifth flow state condition is to feel in control and be confident that you have the skills to complete the task at hand. After 4 short trips, we were ready for Japan. My daughter had turned 5, now a great sleeper, loved Pokemon, so I was confident she would love Japan too. What I didn't have confidence in was me, that I'd be able to pull it off, take great photos in all the different locations across Japan while staying in the flow as a dad. My solution was to buy another camera, this time for my daughter, the Instax Mini Evo that saves to micro SD card, so you only print the ones you like and involve her in the photo making process. There's nothing that forces you to build confidence quicker than having to teach someone else how to do it. And honestly, trying to explain compositional theory to a 5-year-old helped my framing get better, and teaching her has made me a more confident photographer. Csikszentmihalyi's sixth and final flow state condition is to make the experience autotelic, so enjoyable that it provides the momentum for you to keep repeating it. Enjoyable is the last word that comes to mind when we're talking about vomit and late night laundry, but strangely, it is. Going out early to track down subway stations, buying takeaway breakfast for the whole family, and yes, finding a coin-operated laundry after everyone's gone to bed. It's all fun if my camera is there with me. So I found it. This is the 24-hour coin-operated laundry, the best one I can find closest to me in Shinjuku, and my night has just begun. While I'm waiting for my washing and drying to finish, I'm going to go on a photo walk with the Nikon 35mm f1.8s prime. This lens has gotten a bad rap over the years. I've got a lot of thoughts. You'll find that video here when it's ready to go. I'm Jack, trying to capture the piece even when washing out vomit.